Hey, here's some quick thoughts on the second book in the Percy Jackson, the senior year adventures. This one is titled The Wrath of the Triple Goddess. And before I talk about that, I would like to talk about the Chalice of the Gods real quick like. I read the Chalice of the Gods almost a year ago, about 10 months ago, I'd say. And I really enjoyed that book. But there is a bit of a problem. While the book has that classic Percy Jackson style that those who read these books, love, and has those great adventures that are really fun and lighthearted, there's not a lot of stakes. Obviously, Percy, is trying to get into a special college and he has to get his recommendation letters, and that's what all these adventures are about so far. It's, fine. That's a story that people who've read this book either can relate to because they've had to go to college, or, if they're currently reading Percy Jackson, they might be getting close to having to go to college. So that can, at least give them a little fair warning and say, hey, by the way, there's going to be steps to getting into college, just so you know. You won't have to do, godly adventures, but you still got things to do. Sorry for the cough. But outside of that, the stakes are really low. I can't remember what the god's name was in the first book, but he's like, hey, Percy, my chalice is missing. I need you to find it. And it's like, what's going to happen if it doesn't get found? Well, Zeus is going to get mad and he's going to punish me. Ooh. The original Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and while I haven't finished the Blood of Olympus series, both of those have very high stakes. First series you got Kronos as the villain, and I believe the second series it's Mother Gaia, if I'm not mistaken. But that's some major problems going on, That's some major issues that the characters are going to have to deal with. That's some end of the world kind of scenarios. And even with the Percy Jackson and Olympians, a lot of the problems Percy was facing could have been some potentially, maybe end of the world scenarios or something akin to it. But the senior year adventures, it's kind of this is just another day, not that big of a deal, which I don't dislike that because, Percy's been doing this for a little while. He's kind of getting used to this end of the world scenario stuff. So it kind of makes sense why a lot of it's kind of humdrum for him. And let's put it this way, after they've saved the world 2 times, it kind of makes sense that, the problems wouldn't be as major. It kind of makes sense from that perspective because when it comes to stories that keep going on, you can only do so many of those. Hey, there was a really bad evil that you have to go defeat. Oh no, it's not that evil you've already dealt with. It's completely different. You got to pay attention, boy. This might destroy you. This might destroy you. It kind of can become a little, that in and of itself, trying to constantly raise the stakes can be kind of humdrum. I think of Thor Dark World, where these evil elves that have been sleeping for like 3,000 years, they're supposed to be so deadly. Yeah, so deadly that most people didn't know about them. And besides the fact that their technology would not have progressed for 2,000 years, so I'm pretty sure the modern day Asgardians would be more powerful, but that's a tangent. But, sorry for that cough. So far, I've only read about 60 pages in. So I don't know everything about this book yet, but that whole low stakes thing is kind of continuing because Hecate is wanting Percy to basically house sit her pets for him, and for her, not for him, for her. And obviously they're, mythological creatures and they're very, very dangerous, obviously, but it's still house sitting, and I feel like, oh boy, this is really low stakes. I hope the stakes get a little bit higher, or this might be one of the more dull books. I mean, it's not going to be dull because it is Percy Jackson, but it might be dull by Percy Jackson standards, because, you know, you got to keep the stakes high to keep the audience invested. But I'm still optimistic. I still got about probably about another 270 pages left to read. So I'm very hopeful. I know Percy Jackson's not going to waste my time. This Rick Riordan hasn't wasted my time yet, so I don't think it's going to start now. But, you know, those are just some initial thoughts. Hopefully the stakes start getting raised pretty soon in this book, and hopefully in this series in general, because, you know, every time you have a sequel series, a sequel book, it does have big shoes to fill because it has a legacy to live up to. But either way, thanks for watching. Bye.